Greetings everyone, welcome back to Dine and Dreams. It is your lady Ms.Z, or ṣunfúnmiláyọ, I play K. If you would, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Comment down below which one you chose. I like to check the comments. If you need to book a reading with me, please go to dineanddreams.com. That link will also be in the description box along with the timestamps. And also other items I have will be on the shop as well, so check that out. Guys, I have actually went back through some of your old requests that you wanted for certain videos, so a lot of these videos will be inspired by you, so shout out to you. And another thing is, if you would like to add a new request on something that you would like to see on Dine and Dreams, I am open to suggestions, so please put that down in the comments below as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this pick a card reading. Alright guys, so the first video that I'm going to be doing, like I said, it's going to be like a rapid fire week. So I plan on putting out more than one video this week, and they're going to be short, concise, and to the point. Alright, but the first video that I picked for viewer's choice was what are my spiritual taboos. I believe this was given to us by a queen. I believe it's Oma or Oba. I have to see who I got the reading from, but if you're watching this, shout out to you, because you'll see the title and know, hey, that was my idea. And yes, it was. So anyway, back to this reading. So this is a pick card reading on what are my spiritual taboos. So interestingly enough, this is something, and if I already did this, I'm going to do it again. I'm not sure if I have or not, but taboos are pretty much things that you don't need to do, you know, because they're not in alignment with you, your path, or your journey. And in Isheshe, Ifa, even in Santeria and other traditions, you know, ATR just in general, we take these very, very seriously, because, you know, that one thing that you could continuously be doing could be, you know, pushing you away from your destiny, could be driving you closer to ascending back to the other realm, you know, depending on what it is. So yes, spiritual taboos are taken very, very seriously, and normally we get these when we initiate, when we do certain readings. They come out in certain folds, so it just depends. But yeah, so we're going to find out what's spiritual taboo for you, and that's just a little disclaimer, because sometimes it does get a little bit serious. And if you need a little bit more information on, you know, what's your spiritual taboo, of course, get a reading. All right, so these are your choices. I have the Secretary Bird Feather. This is choice 1. Choice 2 is going to be this hand rattle. Choice 3 is going to be this rock that was picked up from a river. It's not a river rock, but it was near the river. So you can pick pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. I have to clean my feather. So if you need more time, please pause the video. But we're going to get right into pile 1. And as you notice, I did all of them like 3 totally different things, unrelated. So this is going to make it a little bit fun to choose which one you want. But yes, pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. We're going to go ahead and get started with pile 1. Timestamps are in the description box. Alright, so for those of you who chose pile 1, let's see what are your spiritual taboos. The first thing has to do with your hair, okay? Some of you, you have Native American in your ancestry, and some of you, you know, whether you don't have Native American or not, you have some type of indigenous ancestry that hair is looked at in different ways. And I had this conversation with somebody, you know, in my inbox too, you know, because I feel like at this point, it's hard for me to keep any braids or anything like that in my hair, just because my head is very, very sensitive. And I do lots of readings, so there's a lot of energy going in and outside of that portal, so it's hard for me to keep anything on my head. So for you, you know, take this message as it resonates, because I see 2 different heads. You know, I see the person that has to be very delicate with their hair. They have to make sure that anybody, and it doesn't matter if you are male or female, it does not matter, okay? Now, back to what I was going to say. You know, there are some of you that are going to have to be very careful and mindful of what you put in your head. Braids, you're going to be mindful of people touching your hair, because they can send you energy. You're going to be mindful of cutting your hair. For some of you, okay, I'm going to get to the other end of things. Some of you have to be mindful of cutting your hair. I know that, you know, Native Americans tend to do it with the moon cycle and other things too. So you're going to be mindful with cutting your hair. You just have to be very attentive to your head, okay, because it is an extension of you. And messages do come in the form of your hair. And this is what your ancestors want too. They want you to be very careful with who's in your head and how you treat your head, okay? Make sure that, you know, depending on, that we all have different types of hair depending on race and other factors. But depending on whatever your hair type is, make sure that you're keeping it clean and make sure that you're doing spiritual cleanses. And you can do this with river water and things like that, but I don't want to get too deep into that because there are spiritual protocols for, you know, collecting water and collecting things from nature. You always have to do it with respect, and most of the times you have to give offerings and things like that to nature. Even cleaning up around the riverbank is considered offerings, things like that, to pay homage before you take something from the river and things like that. But they are talking about a head cleanse, making sure that you keep your head clear. This will help. Now, on the other end of that, for some of you, you will keep your head short, just like this. And the funny thing is, I just tuned into this right when I said that. You know, she has a bald head on this. For some of you, you will feel the need to keep your head completely shaved. If not, keeping it very low cut, very low maintenance, not going into it too much. And this is because, again, you're kind of like me. You're a spiritual worker. So it's very hard for anything. Like, you might pick up on anything. You might have massive headaches from keeping heavy head on your hair, especially women who wear wigs and things like that. You're going to have to be very mindful of that. And it is said that, you know, depending on what type of hair you have in your head, you could also be picking up their bad luck and stuff like that from other people's, you know, hair being on your head. So just make sure that you cleanse it before you put it in your head. And also, you may not be able to keep hair in for a very long amount of time because of that. So you want to be mindful, and the same thing applies. Head cleansings, you know, head cleansings. Yes, you can wear wigs, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to keep your hair short. So, like I said, it's two ends on it. There's some of you that need to just let your hair grow and be, you know, very maintenance. And then there's some of you that might want it cut because you're just doing a lot of spiritual work, so it's very hard. And you can also hold a feather in your hair. That's what I'm hearing too. The feather has significance because you're going to hold it in your head. It also removes negative energy. There's lots of gifts from the feather alone. It has negative ions and things like that that break up negative energy. So you may want to hold feathers in your hair, or sacred items like shells and things like that. Those will communicate with your ancestors. And, you know, it'll make your hair something more of like an antenna. Well, it is an antenna, but essentially you'll be able to hear things, okay, in your head. So let's go on to pull some bones and also pull some cards. All right, so we are back, and guys, I'm trying this new method of not, you know, shaking the bones up on camera. I might start back doing that, but I just do it off camera because it's a little bit quicker and it's a lot less noisy. So let's go ahead and get into this. I wanted to also add about the hair thing. For some of you, you may want to wear like a white scarf on your head, and the color of the scarf that you wear is important. So, you know, my recommendation is lighter colors, white, to keep your head clear and things like that, okay? It seems like, you know, especially with you picking the feather, there's a lot of, you know, great elders, you know, people who are looked up to. And this is what's coming out in the bones too, because I'm seeing that you cannot have negative tongue. You cannot speak negativity into your life, okay? You cannot allow others to speak negativity into your life. I had to catch somebody that was like, you know, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to miss out on, okay? And when people speak things into your life, it starts to manifest, especially depending on who it is, you know, especially if it's a spiritual worker speaking those things into your life. You want to, you know, reverse that spell and say, you know, something else like, you know, there's plenty more opportunities, you know. Don't let anyone make you feel like that's the only opportunity. You're going to have to be very careful with words. I'm also seeing some of you need to learn, you know, your indigenous tongue. You need to learn an indigenous language. You need to learn another language other than English, okay? And if you have another language than English, then you need to be speaking it more often. It's not to say, you know, you should be well versed. It just means that, you know, the English language speaks so much of a lot of hidden messages of negativity and things like that. They want you to be very careful with tongue. The things that you speak exist, okay? And I've seen one of these taboos before, actually, of, you know, being careful of how you speak. Another thing the ancestors are speaking on, and this is heavily coming from the mother side. They speak on you not holding attachments to people because, you know, if it's not in alignment with you, you need to be, they say you need to be very quick to adapt to certain things, okay? When you find out that somebody is an enemy, or when you find out that somebody is not for you, you need to be very quick to adapt. Don't sit there and cry and mourn and, you know, try to get them back into your life, or continuously try to give people second chances, because when they show you somebody is bad for you, it's going to save your life. That's why I said taboos, especially in Isheshe Ifa, we take it very, very seriously, because, you know, it can save your life, you know. So when we're told things, we actually listen. So when spirit tells you that someone is not for you or someone is enemy, they want you to get away from that person, because down the line you may end up with that person's, you know, in the energy of their bad luck or whatever it may be. You know, these people can have you in car accidents and all types of stuff, because again, they done told you to stay away from that person, and they're telling you to stay away from that person for a reason. So trust what the ancestors have to say, especially the ancestors. Not to say, you know, rather, it doesn't matter what side it comes from, but this is strongly a message coming from the mother side of your lineage, your maternal side. They're speaking on, you know, friends, associates, people that you were close to, people that you connected with. And they're saying that some of these people aren't your friends. And they're talking about quick transition. They're talking about you going on an individual path, not being restricted by relationships this lifetime. It's very important. Another thing is, a lot of things deal with your destiny here. The ancestors are speaking on spiritual gifts, okay? They're speaking on spiritual gifts. And they seem, you know, very adamant about you taking your purpose and your spiritual gifts seriously. They say you need to always be working towards your destiny. On this, because I'm seeing block gifts and some other things too. So let's see. But the main message is not letting relationships get in the way of your purpose. Talking about. All right. Yeah, a lot of you have father figures coming through in this reading. It could be grandfathers too. All right. So a lot of you will be taking on spiritual leaders, some type of path as where you are like a spiritual leader, where you are someone who guides people, someone who teaches people. So it's very important that you stay in alignment with that you're always learning, okay? For you not to step out of that path, because I'm seeing initiation and initiated into the mysteries. So there's like two phases that you're going to go through in life. And you see how it says respecting taboos? I want you to see that so you understand where the ancestors are coming from. Respecting taboos. This means that a lot of you will go through physical initiations. Some of you are going to go through just spiritual initiations where the ancestors will come to your dreams and teach you a lot of different things. And they will tell you about certain things. So it's not like they're not telling you what you can and can't do, you know. So it's like when you run into these bumps into the roads, you're like, why didn't anybody warn me? But they did warn you. They did give you a hint. They did tell you flat out, you know, things like that. So they want you to listen to the advice that they give you, okay? They want you to take heed to their messages. That's the point of everything. Take heed to the messages, not that you're not receiving it. And the gift part means that when you are, you know, breaking your taboos, a lot of your gifts, a lot of your senses will start to decrease, you know, because you're not listening to the things that they're telling you to. You'll be in situations that they told you, hey, from the jump, don't be around this person. And that can kind of shut down your gifts because you're living based off of emotion more than stability, okay? When you're listening to your logic, when you have already done the readings beforehand, before getting around certain people and certain events, then you already know. You know, there's always going to be temptation, and temptation can block out our gifts. They can also direct us down the wrong path, okay? So they want you to make sure that you are paying attention to the things that they tell you beforehand. You know, don't get caught up in the situation and being like, okay, they didn't warn me. They did warn you. It's just when you get to these places, it's hard for you to pick up on things. They keep speaking on issues with self-confidence. This is also, it's not a serious taboo, but it's also a call to action for you to, you know, get yourself into alignment where you are confident in yourself and you are building upon yourself, understanding who you are, praising who you are, seeing the value in who you are, things like that. So you have, okay. So the last taboos I have for you is, one, develop spiritually. Develop spiritually so that you can know what's going on around you, so that you can save yourself and others, so that you can be in alignment with your destiny. You have consistent rituals. You know, it is spiritually taboo for you not to be doing things consistently, okay? When you start to do something and it works for you, don't stop doing it and saying, okay, well, you know, it's been a while since I've had that issue, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Be consistent with the things that you start, because it's a reason that your ancestors gave you that information, okay, or that task, or, you know, that way in bringing in money, whatever it may be. They want you to put in spiritual requests. So what this means is they always want you communicating with them. They want you to have patience in your life for things to manifest. Also, abuse deals with people taking advantage of you. Be careful with abusive people, whether it is in tongue or physically. Deal with issues with self-confidence, and they also want you to wear protective amulets, okay? So when spirit gives you, no matter who it comes from, it could be given to you by somebody else, or it could be things that you find that the ancestors want you to make into make it to some jewelry or something like that. It's supposed to be spiritual protection for you. So make sure that you're not just putting it to the side, like, oh, I don't feel like wearing it today. It could protect you from certain spirits or whatever it is that's around you. So make sure that you're wearing your spiritual regalia, your spiritual army, okay? All right, so that's all I have for the first one. Let's go on to number 2. All right, so for those of you who chose the rattle, pile number 2, this is your pile, so let's get into it. What are some of your spiritual taboos? And as a reminder, taboos are things that we shouldn't do because they aren't in alignment with our destiny, and also it helps us to stay in this realm longer to live out our purpose. So let's see what's spiritually taboo for you. Okay, so for those of you who chose this one, there's a couple of messages. For the first part, most of you, well, that's crazy because a lot of ancestors took music very, very seriously. But I will say that for this pile, your ancestors took you know, music, channeling. A lot of them, not everybody can go into trance very easily. That means that they were able to go in trance very easily. It was something that they were used to, okay? So you may find yourself, you know, catching the spirit, things like that, a lot of different times. Don't matter what tradition it's in, whether it's Christianity, whether it's in, you know, more of a traditional aspect, you may find yourself going into trance or losing yourself and things like that. And it's not a bad thing. It means that, you know, you are a channel through spirit. So it's very important for you to follow procedures spiritually. That was going to be my next thing. It's very important for you to follow certain protocols when it comes to certain things. Have somebody around you too. I'm saying some of you might even fall out one day. And it's like you might just catch the spirit very, very strongly and you need somebody there with you. Nothing wrong with it, because again, you are someone who receives messages. And they want you to take your spiritual practice very seriously as far as protecting yourself, making sure that you cleanse the room, cleanse your home. You're someone that has to be in procedure, or you have to do things a certain way. And this is for your protection. But it's not a bad thing at all. It's actually a good thing, but they just don't want you getting caught up, or, you know, you catching the spirit and things like that, and there's nobody around. But you are someone, I also hear, that is a dreamer too. You may have premonitions, things like that, that relate to you. You may have visions of certain things. I'm also hearing, for those of you who don't have one, you need to get a rattle. You need to get a stick. You need to get a rattle. For those of you who left yours at the altar, you need to pick it up. Your ancestors are wondering why you're not using these sacred items and tools that actually call them down. And once you assign a tool to them and say, this is what I'm going to use to channel you, you need to use it every time, okay? Or at least every other time. Be very consistent with your practices, so that way when you want them to come specifically, they will, all right? Some of you also have been seeing spirits. You've been seeing like something white or something around you. Those are your ancestors too, okay? But you also can tap into that other realm, just period, okay? Because I hate to say it, a lot of people just want to think that we've just seen ancestors. You can also see other things too. It's all a part of the spirit realm. Just like we have good and bad in this realm, it's the same thing in another realm. Don't think everything is all sweet. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad either. It just means that you're very gifted. So let's go on to receive your messages from the bones and from the cards. Now, as I said in my last pile, I've been avoiding shuffling on camera so it doesn't make too much noise. But I wanted to tune into this first. I like to adjust myself before I get started. But I wanted to tune into this really quick because I see my drum bone fell on me, you know. And I don't get into pieces specifically when I'm reading, but I have to call that out because it fell on me. Some of you need to have a drum. And again, they want you to do these things to call the ancestors down. Do it in the way that your ancestors did it before you. Some of you, like I said, are, you know, you're musicians, you're singers, you're these things. And you have these voices. You have this poetry for a reason. It came from your ancestors. It's something indigenously passed down to you. They don't want this gift to be forgotten about. For some of you, you will actually go on to be a singer, a rapper, a musician, something like that. You're going to have some type of path in music. Don't let this die down. That is a part of your path, okay? It's not necessarily taboo, meaning nothing bad is going to happen to you if you don't do it. But they do want you to, okay? Alright guys, so I see a couple of things. So just rock with me here. Alright, for some of you, speaking of career paths, that is one of the taboos. Picking the wrong career path. Now don't look at wrong as in you can't make mistakes, because we all do. And we have certain paths that we may take in order for us to learn and grow as far as character. So even that job you hated back in the day probably taught you a little bit about yourself, probably made you a stronger individual, a lot of different things. So it's not that, but they're saying overall, make sure that you're picking the right career path. Make sure that you're not sleeping on something that you're really gifted in, okay? Taking the wrong path, you know, career-wise can make your life very boring for you. It also can make you very unhappy. And you may not meet the right kind of people. It's just a lot of different things. So they want you to take your career path seriously, your soul mission seriously, okay? Because they're speaking on talents and gifts. Some of you need to get closer to the Father's side. Finding out what's over there. But I'm seeing a lot of gifts passed down, especially from the Father's side, actually. They're talking about, you know, though you may separate from family, some of you may have family issues, it is important for you to still be linked in with your family. Okay, that don't mean that, you know, you have to go see them every single day, but they're talking about you do need to check on your family. If you can, make an effort with your family. Because they're showing some type of protection for you. And this is a temporary taboo, but it's something that does need to happen, like some protection or a shield over your family. And people close to you. Don't be surprised if you have friends, old friends, things like that coming close to you. This is, you're supposed to protect them too. And it could be just for this time period that you're seeing this reading. They say oftentimes you may want to isolate yourself, but I'm saying this is a time that you're going to be needed. And honestly, I have to say that. It's the same thing with this cow too. I just see a lot of gifts. Being very gifted. So let's see. Another taboo that I'm seeing in the bones is dealing with other practitioners, okay? Be very careful with befriending other practitioners. The reason I say this is because you could have some haters in the midst because of this. And it seems like your maternal side is protecting you. But they want you to protect your family from, I don't like using the word witchcraft, but let's say for lack of a better word, witchcraft, things like that. They want you to protect people close to you from this, even partnerships. They also speak on you choosing the right partner too. Okay? Because I see a grandmother spirit protecting. Make sure that, you know, because I see the partner that you're going to have, and, you know, this is oftentimes what I always say, they need to be in alignment with where you are going. They don't want your partner blocking your path, blocking things that you're working on, blocking things that you need to work towards as an individual. Not to say you can't work together, it just means that, let's say for instance, you want to be a singer or something like that, but your partner says, oh, you know, you're crazy. Why are you wasting time on that? Why are you wasting the money, the studio time, this and that and the third? Your ancestors are like, we don't need that negativity around you and your gifts. So you want to have people around you, not just in a relationship, but even outside of that. You want people around you to promote your crazy idea, because your crazy idea can make you a millionaire one day. They say pay attention to your dreams because you do have premonitions, okay? This is one of your strong suits, so you want to pay attention to that. All right, Spirit, what is spiritually taboo for them at this time? A lot of good things, a lot of good things. Look, seeing things, having visions. You also have maybe hearing things. Okay. Nothing really bad here. Nothing really bad at all. Okay? So you don't really have that many taboos. It's more so encouragement for you to stay on your path. And they're also confirming your gifts. They say don't take your gifts as a joke. Don't take the dreams that they give you as a joke. Don't take the stuff that you see as a joke. No matter what anybody else says, you need to write these things down. No matter if anybody else believes you, write it down, because when it comes to be, you'll be like, hey, look what I wrote. Look what I put right here. You know, they want you to take these predictions seriously. They also say there's some ancestors that need to be met, okay, in the spirit realm. So you may have some ancestors coming to you in your dreams. They're talking about sticking to the path. And yeah, they're still talking about you picking up on a lot of energies dealing with the world, okay? So yeah, nothing too expensive here. But yeah, sticking to the path. All right, so let's go on to pile number 3. All right, so for those of you who posed pile 3, with it, I guess there's something else, chose. If you chose pile 3, what are your spiritual taboos? Again, taboos are things that we need to avoid doing because they're not in alignment with us. So the first thing I see with the rock, you know, the special rock here, very solid. There's a couple of things, okay? And some of these are not going to be permanent taboos, and typically you don't get permanent taboos until you're initiated or you actually get a reading about your life purpose and things like that. So a lot of these are going to be temporary for you until you just go ahead and conquer them. But they're speaking on letting go of your childhood, not necessarily letting go of your childhood memories, but they're speaking on releasing things that you held on to that hurt you when you were young, okay? Because if you don't, this could affect other things. Again, we have taboos because they can affect other things in our life if we don't take care of it, okay? So they're speaking on things that you've like held on to, and I see someone, you know, or something coming into your life, and you may not take on certain opportunities. You may not want to go anywhere because you may be stubborn. You may still hold on to hurt from the past, hold on to hurt from when you were a child, things like that. And they're also talking about you being stable in your emotions. And this is just something that might just be current for you right now, okay? Try not to, no matter what information you receive, try to be stable like this rock. Try not to be moved. Even when water comes through, even when emotions come through, don't let them flood you, you know? Stay solid. And I can't really express it any other way, but that's just what I'm hearing. It's something about basically you may be very emotional and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with expressing emotions, but I see that also it can turn into other things. And then you have the crows speaking up on this reading too, because they're flying overhead. So there's a level of spiritual development that's coming to you too. They don't want you, and you know, letting your emotions get out of control can lead you to a lot of different places, like, you know, getting on social media, arguing with folks. If this is you, you know, try not to get caught up in everybody else's drama, especially not celebrities. Try not to get caught up in, you know, responding to everything. Respond to things positively and let it move you, let it pass you by. When everything is, you know, rushing past you, you just stay this rock. You stay stable. They want you to find stability and not let everything that they put out in the media, good or bad, affect you. Because you have a spiritual purpose, and this is also spiritual training for you. Okay? And with that one crow flying overhead, because they come in flocks, that represents a spiritual person watching over you, an ancestor. So let's go on. Let's get into these bones. Okay, so I've already shuffled the bones. Again, I'm not going to be shuffling them on camera right now. Keep the noise levels down. All right, so the first thing I'm seeing is, yes, it is important for you to, you know, just kind of observe things for a little while. They want you to do some spiritual discipline for yourself, and this is going to help you to understand life, and it's also going to help you to help other people, you know, especially if you're trying to be a reader, if you're trying to be somebody of, you know, a leader and things like that. We need you to be stable. We need you not to be moved by every situation until you see the whole entire picture. You know, they want you to stop looking at yourself as someone who is in, you know, the crowd. You know, you are at the throne, right? You're at the throne. When you're at the throne, you see everything down below. You can't just pick favorites. Okay, I like this person there, I like that person more. You know, you need to be able to see the entire picture. I hope I'm making that clear for you, because they see a lot of chaos. Chaos coming to you every which way. You know, people coming to you with their problems, and you know, I see social media. I see a lot of different things in this. And they don't want you getting caught up in this. They're talking about purification. They want you to learn how to protect yourself. That's also something to do with the rock too. The rock, well, most rocks can't be easily broken down. So they want you to learn some protection magic. They're speaking on a major event coming. And I don't know what type of event it's going to be, if it's going to be personal or something to do with the world. But they're showing something that's coming. And they're showing that you don't need to be caught up in it. You need to be kind of over here. You need to be away from the drama. Yeah, they show you focusing on your spiritual purpose. They say don't limit yourself to just thinking that you're here to help everybody's individual problem. Because they say you're going to drain yourself with this. It's taboo for you to be getting drained with other people's drama. Even if it's good drama, you know. They want you to just practice, you know, being separated from that. I'm also hearing abstinence too. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing that too. Okay, so some of you may not want to do that, but yeah. They're talking about you getting really, really close to spirit. So there's a need to be absent from a lot of different things, okay? Whether it be physical, mental, a lot of different things. They say that's the problem. You right up in it. You thinking your destiny involves you being right up in it, but it don't. It means you need to be separated from it so that, you know, if you're good, you can help people. But if you caught up in it, you know, how can you help folks? So let's see what else is taboo for you right now. What are your spiritual taboos? Okay. Oh. All right. Got a lot of it. Okay. You have a spirit who recently passed on speaking to you. They're saying thank you for keeping me in your thoughts and memories. They love you. So if you have someone pass on, they are here with you. Yeah, I can't make that up. It says we live by rituals and prayers, blending in with the bush, kept secrets, being aligned with nature. This card represents the indigenous people that, you know, when you go into their forests, you can't see them, but they can see you. And why is that? Because they are in alignment. They are in alignment, and they are in their what is that called? Their prime, their element. That's all I want to say. They're in their element. Like, you know, you're coming into their space, so you're gonna stick out. You need to be like the bush shaman. People don't even need to know you in the room, you know, but you can see them. You can watch people from a distance. Don't always feel the need to get involved. When it's time for you to shoot your arrows and things like that, ancestors will let you know. You know, always do divination to see if you need to get involved in said situations. Keep your peace, because you are supposed to be getting spiritually strong at this time. You're supposed to be identifying who your spirits are, who's around you, things like that, because they're talking about you being an oracle. They said you can't get involved in certain things all the time. It drains your spiritual energy. They say you need to be focused on your business. There's some things you're supposed to be creating. They say a lot of you are supposed to be traditional healers. Higher forms of healing and wisdom required. And look, I said dealing with childhood trauma. It's on this card. It says you need to release this. Being bullied, insecurities, you need to release it. Justice here, it says, we are proud of you. And they show you becoming a spiritual leader. Being mindful of the energies that you engage in. Alright, so that is the reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and peace.